All right, so we did multiplying polynomials with the distributive method. Now we're going to use the box method. All right, so so you're going to use this when both polynomials have more than one term. So if you have a binomial, a trinomial, or bigger for both of them, you're going to use this. Remember, multiply the coefficients, add the exponents. That's how you multiply terms together. So here's our first problem. So we have a binomial multiplied by another binomial. So the distributive property is not going to work on this one. So we're going to use the box method. So the way the box method works, you're going to break each polynomial apart. So we are going to say, okay, we have two different parts. So I have 3x, the first one goes on the top, 3x, and a minus 1. And then on the side, I have an x squared and a plus 3. So plus 3, positive 3. All right, so we break the polynomials apart and put them outside of the box. Now, the next thing you're going to do is multiply each term. So all you're going to do is multiply the ones that go together. So, okay, we have x. So this box would match with what? X squared and 3x. So we multiply these two together. So remember, if you have a variable and there's no number in the front, it's having a 1. If you have a variable with no exponent, it's a 1. So it's easier if you add those things in to start with. And now you look at it and you just go, okay, 3 times 1 is 3. And then I have x to the second power times x to the first power. So when multiplying with exponents, you add the exponents. 2 plus 1 is 3. So that's our first term. And then we're going to take this one times that one for this box. So positive 1 times negative 1. A positive and a negative is a negative. 1 times 1 is 1. And then I have x squared. There's no x over here, so I just leave it x squared. All right, so now for this box, that's this one times that one. So a positive 3 times a positive 3. 3 times 3 is 9. I have an x here, no x here, so I just leave it x to the first power. And then for this box, positive 3 times negative 1. A positive times a negative is a negative. 3 times 1 is 3. All right, so we broke the polynomials apart, broke the binomial apart, broke this one apart, and then we multiply to fill in each box. So if we come down, same answers here we got here. So now write the expression, write it as an expression, combine like terms if you can. So all you do is go through and write these down over here. And you should write them down in standard form. So you're going to take which one has the biggest degrees and write that down. So 3x to the third, write it down. Negative x squared, so minus x squared. 9x plus 9x, negative 3, so minus 3. And then can I combine like terms? Nope, there's nothing to combine, so I'm done. All right, so let's look at another one. I've got two of them here to look at, and we'll do these examples on here. So let's take a look. If I've got binomial times a binomial, so break it apart. Let's look at the first one. I've got 4a to the third, so 4a to the third. And then I've got minus 2, so minus 2. Break this one apart. I've got 3a to the second power plus 1, so plus 1. All right, so that's how you do. Break it apart, put it on each side. Now, multiply them. This box goes to this one and this one. So 3 times 4 is 12. And then a times a, so 2. So we have an a. And then a 2 and a 3 make 5. So give me a second. So I can take a drink of water real quick. All right. So now I want to fill in this box. So positive 3 times negative 2. A positive and a negative is a negative. 3 times 2 is 6. That has an a, that doesn't, so we just keep it the same, a to the second power. All right, go down to the next box. Positive 1 times a positive 4. Positive and a positive is a positive. 4 times 1 is 4. That has an a, that doesn't, a to the third. So then we come over to this one. Positive and a negative is a negative. 2 times 1 is 2. So then we need to write them down. Let's see, put them in order based off of degrees. That's 5, that's 2, that's 3, that's 0. So that goes first. So 12, a to the fifth. That's a 2, that's a 3, so this one comes next. It's positive 4, so plus 4, a to the third. Minus, it's a negative 6, so minus 6, a to the second. And then it's a negative 2, so then minus 2. All right, so what I want you to do, try this one on your own. Pause the video, give it a try, see if you can come up with the answer. If you're stuck, just continue to watch the video, and then we'll see if you're able to do it or not. So hopefully you've paused the video, you've tried it. So now let's take a look. We're going to break this one apart. So 2m to the second n, and I'm going to make this thinner so you can read it a little bit better. And that's minus 6, so minus 6. And then going down the side, 3m and a minus 2, so negative 2. All right, so multiply these two. 3 times 2 is 6. I've got an m, I've got an m and an n, so I've got an m and an n. For the m's, a 1 and a 2 make 3. And since there's an n here but no n here, it just stays the same. So that would still just be 1. All right. This box, this one times that one. Negative and a positive. So positive and a negative is a negative. 6 times 3 is 18. That has an m and that doesn't. So there's nothing to multiply it with. You just leave it the same. All right. This box, positive 2 and a negative 2. A positive and a negative is a negative. 2 times 2 is 4. M and n, and there's not an m and n over here, so it just stays the same. So a 2 and a 1. And our last box, negative 2 times negative 6. A negative and a negative is a positive, and 6 times 2 is 12. So that fills in the boxes. Now we need to write it in standard form. So if we take a look, 3 plus 1, so this has a degrees of 4. That's a 1, so that has a degree of 1. 2 and a 1, that has a degree of 3. And there's nothing there, so that's a degree of 0. So put them in order. So we go 6, m to the third, n to the first, so you just leave it as n. This one's 3, so then minus 4, m to the second, n to the first, so that's just n. That has a 1, 1 for the degree, so minus 18, m to the first, so it's just m, and then lastly, plus 12. Then we check and see, is there anything I can combine any like terms? Nope, so it's done. That's it. All right, and then lastly, I'm going to make one up because I want you to see one like this. What if we have 2x plus 3 times 4x squared minus x plus 2. So this time we have a binomial versus a trinomial. So our box is going to look a little different. So for the top of the box, when we break it apart, we've got 2x and a plus 3. But then over here on the side, we've got 3 terms. So we've got a 4x squared, and then line across. Then we have a minus x, line across. And then we have a plus 2 at the bottom. So this one, our box method's getting bigger. So the more terms you have, the more boxes you're going to have. You just make it fit and you still do the same thing. So now, filling in this one, 4 times 2 is 8. X to the 2 and a 1 make 3. Come over here, 4 times 3 is 12. Keep your x squared. Go to the next one, negative x times positive 2x has a 1. Positive and a negative is a negative. 2 times, there's no number there, so it's like having a 1. 2 times 1 is 2. X to the 1 and a 1 make 2. Then we come over here. Positive and a negative make a negative. 3 times 1 is 3. There's nothing to multiply the x with, so it stays the same. Go to the bottom one. 2 times 2 is 4. And then the x just stays the same. And then 3 times 2 is 6. Now this is one where you will have to combine like terms when you write it out. So if we come over here underneath, move this down some. All right, so write them out. We've got 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. So put them out here. Highest degree, 8x to the third. Then we have a degree of 2 and a degree of 2. So it doesn't matter how you write it. Usually you'll put the biggest number first. So we have plus 12x to the second. And we have this one, minus 2x to the second. And then what some people do, know when they have so many boxes, they just kind of mark them off as they go. So we've got those 3. Now 4x to the first minus 3x to the first plus 6. And this time you can combine like terms. So what can we combine? 8x to the third. Any other x's to the third? No. So we have 8x to the third. So that's gone. Then we have x to the second, x to the second. So 12 minus 2, 10x to the second. Then we have an x and an x. So 4x minus 3x is 1x. So that's just plus x. And then plus 6 on the end. So now that's our polynomial. It's in standard form. It's simplified. We combine like terms. And that's what you've got. All right. So most of your questions will look like these, binomial and a binomial, but you will have some binomials and trinomials. And this is when the box method is the best method to use. So we still have one more method to learn. But most students like the box method. Most of them use the box method. After they learn all 3, that's the one they usually stick with. But like always, if you have any questions, just let me know. Other than that, we only have one more method to go for multiplying. I will talk to you all later.